gentlemen, may I have your attention?
The train's coming, y'all. The train's coming. It's time to climb that green line to the emerald city of Greenbelt, Maryland. It's time for the Putting the Mic podcast with your hosts, the man behind the Putting the Mic, Rick G, and the funny man, the truth teller, James Cooper, bringing you news, music, and more of that thought-provoking conversation. Here he is, the man behind that Putting the Mic, Rick G.
Welcome back to the Putting the Mic podcast. Those of you who are watching on Gay TV, welcome to a new edition of the Putting the Mic. And those who are listening on our streaming channels, welcome back for more of the Putting the Mic podcast in our conversations segment. Before we get to that, we're going to just give a quick shout out to this week's sponsors, Bellamy's Plus Size Boutique for all your fashion needs. If you're looking for any new fashion for the fall, definitely reach out to Bellamy's.com or at I Am Bellamy's Boutique at Facebook. So definitely go there for all your fall fashion needs at Bellamy's Boutique.com. With that being said, I am honored. I am happy today because I have none other than the Honorable Delegate for District 21 here in the state of Maryland, Joseline Pena-Melnyk. And I'm so glad to have her here. Delegate Pena-Melnyk, thank you for being here on the Putting the Mic podcast. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I am really excited, Rick, to be with you today and to be with James. I don't take it for granted. I feel really honored and blessed, and I was looking forward to it. Thank you for the work you do in our community.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm glad to have you and the work that you do. And so with that being said, obviously, we're here at 2020. Obviously we're ticks away from the big dance November 3rd. And, obviously we have a lot of folks who, are kind of, disgruntled and upset. And I'm kind of start with that, my question there. We're going to kind of start with the pick of our, obviously, vice president nominee of Kamala Harris. In my opinion, everybody has their opinions on the pick.
Yeah.
But, what do you say of those who, to kind of, because I think if anybody, you're probably the best person who kind of can bring this together, kind of bring a unified message. What would you say to those that kind of, say, hey, we kind of need to get behind this pick, this ticket, to kind of get those folks who are kind of disgruntled, especially those who are Democrats who are disgruntled and on the sidelines. And I mean, obviously, we don't want a repeat of 2016 where those who are just sitting back, not getting involved, not calling family, not telling people to vote. They're just kind of washing their hands of the whole thing. And we're living what happened with that. We're dealing with that now, obviously, with Donald Trump. So what would you say to those folks to kind of get them energized into getting out and being a part of the process?
Listen, we have to support the Biden-Harris ticket. It doesn't matter who you supported during the primary. That was your choice. But now we have the general, and we cannot have any division. There's too much at stake for us, especially us, Black and brown people and women, okay, and the disabled community. This president who's in office, he has offended so many people. Like every stakeholder, constituency you can think of, he has offended us. And we need to get him out. And we cannot do it if we don't come together. All right? We're going to have the same problem that we had in 2016 when Hillary Clinton won the primary and people refused to embrace her. I know during that election, I drove to Iowa. Okay, I went to Iowa and I stayed there for about almost 3 months, to work on that campaign because my family and I knew that was an important election and we knew what was coming with this president. So please, let's not make that mistake again. Let's learn from our mistakes. It is important that we come together.
Okay, awesome. And that's true. I definitely agree with you. And, it's funny because we had, I want to say weeks ago, we had our Platinum Live special. We were doing specials for the conventions. We did both for the Democrat and Republican conventions. And some of the take we got away from both conventions, so to speak, and mainly, especially with the Democrat, convention, was that it was a lack of policy that was, that they said came out of the convention. So, I mean, what would you say to those folks that think that, obviously there are things out there, what would you say to those folks that kind of things they should look at, to kind of help them, say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this because they are speaking something that, maybe within our best interest. Maybe something they're missing, they're lacking, something that you may know about today that, say, hey, you know what, that's a good point. Those that, Pena-Melnyk just made a good point. And you know what, that's enough for me to say, hey, I'm going to ride with Biden to this election.
Look, Biden showed that in South Carolina that he can unite the party, right? Black women came out for him like they did in Alabama, right? All you have to think about is if you cannot look and inform yourself on what is the platform of each candidate. Biden spent 8 years with the first Black president of this nation. He was a senator for 36 years. He has foreign policy experience that this joker that we have in the White House doesn't have. Okay, because people are laughing. We have lost respect. We usually our allies, when you think about Germany, when you think about, England, all right, France, when you think about Canada, they're natural allies and they have no respect for us now. Mm-hmm. Okay, look at how he treats Russia. Okay, he doesn't even want to question them when there's so much data on the influence they had on the elections in 2016, right? Yeah. I mean, Biden actually supported Obamacare, right? Biden also has supported campaign finance reform, which that's important for you and I. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He actually supports, the going against Citizens United, okay, overturning it. He supports carbon emissions and trade as well. He supports lowering the age for Medicare to 60 so that we can cover more people. All right. He supports expanding Obamacare. And let me tell you about Obamacare in Maryland. Before we had Obamacare, we had almost 800,000 people that were uninsured. When we expanded Obamacare and we allowed kids to stay on their parents' insurance to the age of 26, and we got rid of pre-existing condition and we created our own health exchange, we actually cover, almost 500,000 people. So people in Maryland for the first time have insurance. Many people that didn't have it before. Is it perfect? No. But the president we have in office now has done everything in his power, to destroy it, where it's now at the Supreme Court level. And Biden has said that he will protect it. Biden also believes in increasing the minimum wage to 15 throughout the whole nation. And in addition to that, he believes in criminal justice reform. So if you do not know what he stands for, then respectfully inform yourself. Do your homework. For Black and brown people, Biden is a person that we need to elect. Look, I feel very strongly that if you care about civil rights, social justice, and equality, you have to vote for Biden. Because the person we have in office right now is a bigot, a racist, okay? And we need to get him out.
No, that's true. It's funny because, on this show, we have a nickname for, we call him the Klansman in Chief. That's our nickname on the show, the Klansman in Chief. That's a nickname for Donnie. You on the Platinum Mic. But, it's interesting. Obviously, after you had the GOP convention, now I have to ask you, kind of being an Afro-Latina woman, how does it feel? Obviously, I have to ask, kind of seeing those, I would say the word tap dance or just doing that, doing the act at the GOP convention, and they're talking about Trump in such a way as where they're talking like he is just God's gift to humanity. And it's to me, it was just baffling. I mean, I was just in awe. It's crazy.
Look, you have to be under a rock. Mm-hmm. And I mean this respectfully, as a person of color, as a woman, to not be aware of what he has said against our communities. When you think about, as an Afro-Latina, you think about immigration, when you think about the separation of those children from their parents, when you think about the wall, when you think about DACA, you know, kids that came to this country when some of them were 2 years old, and this is the only country they have known. Some of them don't even speak the language. To not allow them to stay here, okay? It's mind-boggling to me when you think about how he has, you know, expressed himself. For example, when he tweeted against the 4 minority women, and he said, "Go back where you came from." When some of them are American, all of them are American. Actually, all of them are American. Excuse me. We may have different backgrounds culturally, but we are American.
Yes.
We are American, and we love America. You know, for him to say that was really very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. He has divided our country, our community. He really is helping the white supremacy movement. All right. For example, when George Floyd died, any president, every person in charge would say, "I am so sorry," you know, have apathy, you know, speak from their heart, try to unite the country. That man hasn't done it once. No. Not once.
At all.
That's not the kind of person he is. That's not the kind of person he is. He doesn't feel empathy. He doesn't sympathize with anyone. You know, he pushes hate. Even though he claims he's not a racist person or that he loves everyone, the only person he cares about is Donald Trump.
That's right. And his pocket and giving tax breaks for the rich, which that's what he's done. Okay. And for, you know, what's mind-boggling for me, and I think we as a party have to really think about this. We Democrats are the party for, you know, the poor, you know, Black and brown people, gay and you know, lesbians, you know, the disability community, you know, women. We are the party that cares about healthcare. We are the party that cares about education, you know, giving communities of color grants to help them with their businesses, you know, reform for criminal justice. So when we cannot communicate clearly to people that are the most vulnerable, then we must try to think, why is that? Okay? Because we are the party. That's why I'm a Democrat, because we Democrat care. We care about, you know, social issues. All right? And that is important to us, to respect humanity and to be kind to humanity. That is the reason why my value system aligns with the Democratic Party. And I don't understand why he gets the support he gets, especially from very poor people.
Yeah, it really baffles me. I don't understand it. It's really, you have folks who don't even, how do they figure a billionaire, a selfish billionaire, historically, would understand their self-interest and their whole plight? I don't get that. Why they would believe that they think that he actually can understand what they do with day to day. Oh, he gets it. How? How? I'm confused. How?
It's mind-boggling.
It is. It's how, and especially the folks, the Black folks who I've watched for the past, 4 years practically. Yeah. Have tap danced to folks. I'm just like, you know, I knew folks. I knew there were Republicans that were, you know, just reasonably upstanding people that have literally become Kool-Aid brainwashed. It's baffling to me. And these are Black folks. I'm like, how in the world? This man literally supports racists. You know, Charlottesville was just that. I was always skeptical, but Charlottesville did it for me. There's 5 people on both sides. You know, and even more recently with the young man, what's his name, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse, yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse, the young man who crossed state lines with a gun, and he says, well, you know, again, he's not saying that he was wrong. He's not going to condemn him. He's not doing it as a president. You know,
he's never done it. He's never done it. Whenever there has been, you know, Black Lives Matter, any movement, you know, women protest, you name it, he has never come out and said, I am supportive of, your cause. I feel you at all. He has no empathy. All right. He's not a leader for all America, right? He's not a leader for the, for women, for, women of color, for, brown, for, the LGBTQ community. He's not for the disabled, for children. He is not a good leader. He has made fun of us. Even when you watch and he has press conferences and you see some of our Black reporters asking questions. He told one of them, that's a stupid question.
Called them nasty and all kinds of things.
That's a nasty question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is someone that has no respect for humanity. None. No respect for humanity. And you know what? President Obama didn't have one scandal, not one. Mm-hmm. If he had had one of the scandal that this man has had, they would have already, gotten him out of the White House, impeached by both houses.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. Oh, yeah. No doubt. No, if he did just just one or two things that Trump has done. I mean, literally, this man has broken numerous federal laws. I mean, even during the convention, and I asked this question: has the Hatch Act been completely thrown out the window? Because the Hatch Act was broken throughout the entire convention.
It was at the White House. I agree with you. I was like, what's going on? It's and they let him get away with it. And you know what's really scary to me? And I am praying that he is not successful in November, that Biden and Harris win, because you also have the Supreme Court, right? This president has appointed more, federal judges than Obama did, and more judges than Obama did. And the Supreme Court, it's Justice Ginsburg is sick. Yeah. I am praying for her health. I'm praying that God heals her. Yes. Honest to God, because it is so important, especially for women, when you think about Roe v. Wade. And Biden and Harris have actually promised that they will codify into law Roe v. Wade. So it is imperative that we vote for them. Truly. Look, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. Mm-hmm. But do we want 4 more years of what we have?
Not at all.
Not. No, whether you supported Biden, whether you supported Sanders, Warren, whoever, please come on board. Think about, if you don't want to do it, for yourself, do it for others. Like those DACA children that are waiting that decision, Obamacare that is at the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade as well, our relationships abroad. Okay, and a lot of these progressive reforms that Biden will get behind. He has to be better than Trump. Absolutely.
Trump's not giving you any of that. He's not giving you progressive. He's not going to give you any, not even a bit of any progressive, actual policy. He's not going to give you not one iota, because in his eyes, and most of his base's eyes, it's all socialism and communism. That's what they believe anyway. Right. They're not going to support it. They're already, trying to tie Biden anyway, saying, with AOC and Rashid Tlaib said, communists and socialists, so they're already downplaying it already. So, you need to get on board. I agree with you. You need to get on board because, at least you can get some of those policies pushed through or not get nothing.
Right, and at least we're at the table, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so much cleanup to do because he has destroyed the Environmental Protection Agency. He has destroyed the State Department, the morale is so low. He has destroyed every single agency you can think of. The Education Department, with who he put in there, Transportation Department as well. I have to say, for those that criticize Biden for choosing Kamala Harris, I have to say she's the right choice. That woman is extremely qualified and deserves it. All right. She was a senator. All right. She was a state's attorney general from 2011 to 2017 in California. She was a deputy district attorney as well. And she was the first woman to be elected, for district attorney in California. And she went to Howard University. Okay, she's a Black woman, an immigrant woman. She represents all of us. Okay, and she believes in a lot of the progressive reforms like Medicare for all. She believes in that, equal pay for women. I mean, that is so important. She will be an amazing leader.
No, she will. And for those who watch, I have to say this. I definitely support Kamala Harris. I was being Divine Nine and AKA and me myself, Make Us Out Five. I support her. But I will have to say this. Joseline Pena-Melnyk was my first choice vice president. If I should be vice president, it should have been Delegate Pena-Melnyk. This is my choice. I'm cool with Kamala, but I would have rather had, Delegate Pena-Melnyk. We would have been, I would have been perfect. Been,
thank you. That's really beautiful.
Presiding over the Senate.
I appreciate you very much. I really think that the Biden-Harris ticket is a very strong ticket. And I know myself, I'm not just talking about it, I'm making phone calls in Pennsylvania where it's going to make a difference, okay? We need to win Pennsylvania. It is imperative. So if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, what can I do? I don't have money to give. Well, you have a few hours to make some phone calls, or you have a few hours to write some postcards. And make sure that, we communicate with those battleground states, right? In Maryland, we can do that. It is important. And in Maryland, please, I want to make this clear. During the last primary, the governor made the decision to mail everyone a ballot. So you were mailed a ballot and you completed it, you filled it out, you signed the envelope, you mailed it. That's it. That was your vote. 97% of the people that voted during the primary in Maryland this past June voted by mail. 97%. So now what they're doing is that the governor decided to not mail a ballot like he did during the primary to every registered voter in our state. And we have 6 million people that live in Maryland, okay? So whatever a percentage of those are registered, okay, he mailed ballots, right? So maybe over 2 million or whatever that is. This time, because it worked so well, he decided that what was done was that an application for a ballot was mailed, okay?
Yeah, I filled that out myself.
Application was mailed, which a lot of people think that this is the ballot.
Yeah.
This is not the ballot because you don't see anyone listed to vote for. So he put some obstacles, some steps. So you have to fill out the ballot that was mailed to everyone. And then once you fill it out and you mail it, then they mail you fill out the application for the ballot. This is the application for the ballot. Once you mail the application, then once they receive it, the Board of Election, they mail you the ballot. Then you have to fill out the ballot and mail that ballot or put it in one of the boxes, okay? In Maryland, you could vote early as well. You can vote from October 26th till November 2nd, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you can also vote on Election Day in person, November 3rd. Now, you know that this year is not going to be like at the schools, those small areas.
Yeah.
All right, they're choosing big venues so that we can have social distancing.
Yeah.
And in
I believe
Maryland,
FedEx Field is one, right?
right, yeah,
Field is one, yeah.
absolutely. And you can also vote on the day of the election. You can vote, but you can register. So Maryland is one of the states that you can register on the same day that you actually vote. There's no excuse.
Yeah. And thank you, by the way. I have to thank you for that because I knew you were part of that vote, that we can do that now. We can register and vote on the same day. So
absolutely.
Because, you were part of that vote that actually helped pass that. So
thank you. And, I'm glad you mentioned that because Joe Biden, I believe it was in 1982 or so, he was instrumental in expanding the Voting Rights Act. So this man has a record. You can't say he's not experienced. All right. He's an expert in foreign affairs. He's an expert. He spent 8 years with Obama, and he was, I think it was 36 years as a senator. He is qualified. Okay. No one's perfect. All right. But he is qualified, and he will have our interest. And we need to support him and Kamala Harris. All right. I can't take 4 more years of Trump.
None of us can.
Yeah, none of us at all, really. And it's scary to me because I was reading something where I don't know if he was, he makes jokes to try to pass them off. It's really what he's thinking, but he tries to seem like it's a joke. But it's really what he's really thinking. That they try to say, okay, well, it was a joke. I was making a joke. Him saying that he's going to try to negotiate more term if he gets reelection.
A third term.
Trying to negotiate a third term.
Yes.
And I know he's dead serious. People think it's a joke.
But what does that make you think? What is he acting like? What is he acting like?
Yeah, a dictator.
That's right.
Yeah,
Venezuela, think about all these other countries. That is what he wants.
Oh yeah.
He wants Russia, right?
All of the leaders around the world he respects.
He does.
He's trying to be just like them.
He wants them.
That's right.
If he could, if he like with the press. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If he could snap a finger and make those journalists disappear. He wish he had the power that Putin has. These other folks had. If they don't like a press member, snap a finger and they're gone, or they're killed or disappeared. He wish he could do that. He really does. That's how much that's what he tried to turn the people against the press.
That's right.
Job, and that's to hold him accountable. It's a press job to hold public figures accountable for the things they do and say. And he doesn't like it because he can't control the narrative with the press. He can't control it.
Yeah.
He's upset.
No, you're right. Mm-hmm. You're right. And the point is, honestly, that we cannot afford to stay home and not exercise our right to vote. Mm-hmm. There are many countries that people lose their lives, to exercise their right to vote. We take it for granted in this country, We take it for granted. And what happens is that when you don't vote, others make the decisions for you. So then you can't open your mouth and complain.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's that simple. And we, women, white women, black, women, brown women, all women, we have the power to elect people. And we're the ones that are the backbone of the Democratic Party, especially black women. And that is important, for us to get out and for us to be respected. And when you think about COVID-19 and what it's done to our black, brown communities, when you think that in Maryland, we have 24 jurisdictions, right? The counties in Baltimore City, 24 jurisdictions. And you think about, and you ask yourself, what's the county with the highest number of COVID-19 cases? Which one is it?
It's Prince George's County.
Prince George's County.
Prince George's County.
Prince George's County. And then as you peel that layer and you ask yourself, what's the zip code in the entire state that has the highest number of COVID-19 cases? Which one is it? 20783. Where? Who lives there?
Wow.
That is the Langley Park.
That's Hyattsville, Langley Park.
Killam, Adelphi, and who lives there? The immigrant community. And how many they have? Over 2,800 cases in that zip code alone. What does that say? That talks about generational poverty. It talks about social determinants of health, how it's not just having access to health care, but it's where you live. It is that most people, black and brown, are essential workers. They cannot social distance because they all live in a place together. They make very little money, no access to health care, no access to transportation, And that is the black and brown issues and health disparities that whoever is the next president, is going to have to face that and address that. When you think about implicit bias, all of those, proposals, I honestly believe that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden will support it. because they care. And she is a Black immigrant woman.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. I had to. Hey, Cooper, you got anything? Anything want to add?
No more questions for me.
Well, no, Delegate Pena-Melnyk, I definitely appreciate you being here on the Partner Mic. I definitely I'm honored. For those who are watching, this is my favorite delegate.
Thank you.
Official in the state of Maryland, period.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I don't take it for granted. I honestly feel very blessed to hear you say those words. You know, I give this job my absolute best. It's supposed to be a part-time job, and I have never worked part-time hours. I work 7 days a week. I mean, I'll go to a hospital with a constituent. I'll go to a nursing home. I go to a school and help a kid, fill out the application. I represent everyone as an Afro-Latina woman. I care about everyone deeply, whether you're Black, brown, white. And I care about you as a human being, all right? And my office goes the extra mile. I in a humble way, I am a good legislator. I gotten some great bills through that are, in a lot of instances, Maryland is the first in the nation, and they're my bills with the support of my colleagues. I couldn't get them done, okay, in a very humble way. But I take this seriously, and I care about this. I care about people, and I care about our nation, and what kind of country are we leaving for our kids, right?
All right, true. And, and I have to say, I have to get this story because I'll be remiss if I didn't say this. So, Delegate Pena-Melnyk. Now, speaking of hospital, I had some medical issues back earlier this year in January. I was at a hospital, and Delegate Pena-Melnyk, got word of that, and she reached the hospital, and she made sure I was well taken care of, make sure I wanted for nothing. I mean, I had the best from everything. I was, taken care of. And here's the thing about this. I live in District 22. I am not her constituent. She is not my delegate, which, it made me want to go to 21. But yeah, she is a district rep for 21. And she reached out, and that just shows you the type of person that delegate is, because, there was nothing in it for her. There wasn't a vote because I'm not a constituent. There's none of that. And this is her being her. So, that's what that stands out to me, the type of person that she is. It's not, votes. It's not, it's about being an actual good person, a good leader, and I've told her this, and I'm going to say this here on camera, those who are listening, wherever she goes, I will follow. She be knocking on doors, if I could vote for her, I will vote for her, but I will make sure folks vote for her. I even told her before we got started here, sometime before we end this broadcast, we could talk and run for governor. Maybe we could talk. We could talk and run for governor. Maybe. And we almost lost because I know he ran for Congress a few years back.
I did
for the vacant seat. And I wish you would have got it then. But then again, hey, you wouldn't have been here. So, but either way, we're glad to have you. And
thank you. It was a great experience, and I felt really blessed that people supported me. And, to be elected is such an honor because people believe in you and they vote for you. And how could you take that for granted, right? That God bless you to be able to do the work that moves you, and that people are moved to support you. And that's what really moves me when I get up in the morning. I honestly feel extremely grateful, and I start by thanking God, and I remember to count my blessings no matter what. And the fact that you support me that way, I'm very touched. And the fact that people put me where I am, that's why I work really hard, because I don't take it for granted. I feel very honored.
No, and again, we just thank you again for being here with us and taking your time out to come visit us here at our small little ticker shop here at the Partner Mic. So we're small time. Thank you for coming and pay us a visit, us down here at the Partner Mic. So again, thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who are watching on Gay TV, we will see you next week with more of the Partner Mic podcast. And those who are listening on our other streaming platforms, we'll be back with more of the Partner Mic podcast after a word from our sponsors.